Jeffries. I am from Detroit, Michigan, where I lived most of my life. I've been here in Birmingham for 9 years. I came down here for a job opportunity with BBVA Compass in data warehousing, which is what I've done for the bulk of my career. And loving it here in Alabama. I've been privileged to be very active in some of the technical areas of the community, and like this year I'm the chair for Tech Birmingham, and I got to do that basically by being an IM and meeting people. But I'm also a founding member of the Birmingham Women in Technology, which is attached to Tech Birmingham now. And this is our 3rd year, and we have a new chair for that, Tina Maddox. So I'm really happy to be working with some of the great people here in this community. So we're responsible for the informational systems for the bank, not the loans and deposit systems that are core for opening the bank and being able to provide its services, but the information about those loans and those deposits and the different businesses that we have within the bank. We provide the data for the data warehouses and the core warehousing and business intelligence efforts for the bank. I've actually been working with open systems and Oracle databases since the 80s. And I got there because I was doing some administrative and change control work for a trucking company. And obviously it wasn't a big IT shop. It was anybody who wanted to do something with an IT, they were trying to find somebody to help with. And I met a lady who was a DBA, and they hired her while I was there. And I kept thinking, wow, isn't that great? You know, look at what she's doing. I think I can do that. And I approached her, and she let me help with a few efforts that she had going. And she was at a conference, an Oracle Open World conference, and they had a little earthquake down there in the 80s. And communications went down for almost 18 hours with the Moscone Center in San Francisco because of the earthquake. And we were in a disaster recovery situation at the trucking company and had to restore the Oracle database, and I was able to work through it myself. Wow. So I got lucky that Dottie had shown me a few things, and it had a scenario that occurred that really made me go, I really can do this. And it went on from there, to be frank with you. Well, that got me really interested in databases, and I then started working with, like create database, and you got to put the data in. And I probably focused pretty hard for about 4 years on that, and I started realizing the real challenge wasn't about getting the data in. It was about getting the data out once it was there. Yeah. And that it really has been a focus area for me. And back in the day, when we had normal databases, then suddenly there was very large databases. In the VLDBs, people had to learn things like PL SQL, they had to be tuned, and the DBAs were tuning everybody's SQL because it wouldn't perform. I got to work with a lot of really great people and really started realizing that should be a focus area. So business intelligence, which is really about how you use the data that you have prepared, is really what the bread and butter of everything's about. In today's environment, with the focus on data quality and data governance, it's even more important to be understanding what you're doing with the data, how it got there, and what you can make of it for the company that you work for. Today's world, now with big data, we've gone from databases to very large databases to the whole big data explosion that we have out here. It's even more important to be able to say, not only do I have the data that we need, but I'm able to give people access to that data. I'm able to give them an understanding what that data is. And frankly, it's really fun to learn some of the new technologies. Hadoop that's come out, and the different pieces of the Hadoop framework. It's very, very fun to work with, to be honest with you. Right. I can't look back and tell you that I had a mentor. Frankly, the fact that I didn't have a mentor motivates me today. I'm very active in things like 100 Girls of Code and the Kids Code Club over down here at McWayne Center. I think that back in the day there weren't a lot of women doing what I did. And what really made me able to excel back then was, frankly, I could wake up with a phone call in the middle of the night because I was used to getting up with kids. You know, I had a baby, and the guys would be like, call Denise. Like, just call Denise. She'll answer the phone. She'll tell you what the question is. And so really and truly, they were all mentors to me because they helped push me to do the different things that need to be done. But I've had bosses that have asked me to do things that I didn't think I'd be able to do. And that really pushed me to think, no, I can do this. Why not? You know, why not? I used to think of myself as jack of all trades and master of none, because there's so many different pieces of what you have to do to provide data for people to use, and then to prove to regulators and auditors that you're using the right data for the right purpose. So there's business process reengineering. There's learning different reporting tools, learning the difference between reporting and doing a dashboard. So, you know, there's always somebody to learn from. So my list of mentors in that respect would be very long. I've had bosses that have said, well, you know, one time for a year I ran a web development team. Well, the reason they had me run the web development team was the gentleman that was in charge of that team had left the company unexpectedly, and they were struggling with getting the data out. And so I got the privilege of learning a lot about web development and different widgets and what a graphic artist has to do to make a web page available and really be able to be used. So, you know, that was a great experience for me. And if that team hadn't accepted me into their ranks and the lead there worked with me, that could have been a disaster. But it wasn't. And I've been able to say that I've had that happen to me several times in my career. And so always be willing to try something that maybe extends you out of your comfort zone.
The purpose is being able to see other people succeed and do the things that are going to make them successful. Helping other people, whether it's teaching Sunday school or going over to the MIS program at Hoover with Judy Keir and talking to some of the kids about, you know, jobs in IT, being able to help with the 100 Girls of Code and the Kids Code Club, working with some of the educators that I met through SIM to, you know, set up opportunities for internships.
All education is helpful to anyone, frankly. For me, a lot of my education didn't happen in class. A lot of my education happened because you picked up a book or you sat with someone, and those aren't always things that can be taught. But everybody has to know what works for them. And so, you know, I think the next question is, what education would you like to have, right? I wish that I had started sooner. I'd like to have a PhD. It's not going to happen for me, I don't think, but I mulled about it for a while, and then I went down the path of, you know, if I'd done this 10 years ago, that's where I would have gone. I wish I'd done things sooner, is all I can say. But my advice is, if you have an interest and an inclination, then go do it and try it out for a while and see where you're going to go from there, because you're never going to stay in one spot forever. And you've got to be willing to learn something new every day. Otherwise, how boring would life be? You know, if you just did the same thing. I don't want to work on an assembly line. You know, you want to be able to be open to the next thing that can happen to you. And frankly, sometimes you have to feel within your heart, within your soul, that you can do it. And a program like IEM gives you enough challenges and it gives you different interactions than you would have if you were just in a typical student instructor program and not doing all the teaming work that we do here with IEM.
And what the IEM program did for me was let me see that I could do something that was, learn something that was new to me, do something that was kind of tough, work with other people, meet people, and keep those relationships going. So those were all things that IEM helped with.
And IEM really provided a really good outlet for me. Not only did I get a degree did I get a degree, but I met great people that I still am in contact with, 5 years later. And the other thing I'll tell you is in the IM program, I feel that several of the instructors were very key to mentoring me. Jennifer Skellum, who's the president of Tech Birmingham today, I met her in the program. Don Appleby, who is core instructor there, looking at what those people do and how they handle themselves, really was a privilege for me to be with them. The experience has been really good from multiple aspects. It wasn't just the book learning you got, but the people that you met and the people that the instructors introduce you to, being able to broaden your knowledge. I came down here, I didn't know anything about Alabama, I didn't know anything about the South. I'm a northern girl, and I got to meet people that really helped me be more comfortable in this city and in this state, and where it feels like home now.